Okay. Before I start to the presentation, I would like to pangandalimat so yeah. Okay. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Ida Imade Casya Pramanandiani, but you can call me the Casya. I'm from 7B class English Education Department. Okay. In the video, I would like to present about uh, the presentation about my research. The title is Analysis of the Use of the Whispering Technique on Student Interest Level in SMA N9 Denpasar. Okay, in this presentation, I would like to present about three chapters. Chapter 1 is Introduction, second is Literature Review, and last is Research Methods. Okay, first is I would like to explain about the background first. That some of some difficulties may be faced by the students is the interpretation, lack of vocabulary. Third is difficulty concentrating. Last is reduce the speed of the speech. In interpretation meaning is when students would like to translate about one language into another language, it can make students difficult because not all of them can have the abilities to have skill another language, or we can say like only students can speak only one language or two languages like Indonesian or Balinese. It can make hard students to translate by listening test for students who cannot have the skills another another language, and it also connected for number two, that lack of vocabulary for students who can translate uh, in from one language into another language. It can make students too difficult about to translate because the meaning of the vocabulary that they have, it can also make them difficult, and then the difficulty in concentrating because when the student doesn't have that abilities, the students can concentrate to answer the question. We take the example. If the students, I see a lot of students, if they are not have the skill or the abilities to answer the question, the students are maybe feel boring and not have the spirit to the answer the question. That also the number four is reduce the speed of the speech. Maybe when the students listening the listening audio or listening conversation, it's more speed. I mean like too fast to them to hear, to listen, to hard them to answer while they are must be listening and have to answer the question. Also, uh, there are always some a teacher who connects students' concentration into the learning zone of the right up perception. It means like they will involve them into the learning, and due to the situation that is still not ready to start the lesson to the concentration of different students, and also that sometimes there are students who have a high intuition, but it's also difficult to concentrate. And this is the idea to overcome that the icebreaker I are used to create a learning atmosphere from passive to active. It means like from rigid to friendly, and from bored to cheerful studying condition. It means when we do some icebreakers before or the middle while we learn, it can make a student more concentrate because when we do the icebreakers, it can make the students more concentrate because they feel happy because they doing some games about also connected from the material, uh, and also they can uh, do with their friends from the ice breaking that I would take is the whispering technique. And also the icebreaker are not the main of the learning, but are the main support in creating or an effective learning atmosphere. That I can say is the icebreaker is the support of the learning process. And then this whispering technique, icebreaking, helps also the students to gain individual adrenaline in order to the more enthusiasm the process of learning. And then the research question. First is to what extent does the the whispering to what extent does whispering technique ice breaking affect in reducing students' boredom? And then how does whispering technique ice breaking help develop a student interest level of learning? And then the last is what are the factors that can influence a student feeling engagement toward the studying process after doing ice breaking? Next is objective of the study. To determine the level of effect that is impacted by the whispering technique, ice breathing toward the concept of uh, reducing students' boredom in studying. Also, to analyze the way of the whispering technique ice breathing helps to develop of student interest level to the learning process. And then the last is to identify list of the factors that influence students' feeling of engagement towards studying process at school. Okay, next is the significance of study. From the theoretical benefits, can provide or input the form of concept as an effort to improve or develop knowledge in the importance of this whispering techniques, ice breaking to the student interest level of the studying process, and then deeper knowledge toward the enthusiasm of the ice breaking to the students, and then can be reliable and also trusted learning material from the further research. And for the scope and limitation, this study only focused on the analysis of the use and whispering technique analysis level in grade 10. Why I choose the 10th grade? Because I do some research. It can need more time or place also that I can do for 11th grade because or especially 11th or 12th grade because they are too busy to learn in school and doesn't have maybe free time to I do some research at school. That is the next is relevant research. According to you, first, if listening comprehension is an active activity because it involves receiving information. Next is listening comprehension is a creative skills because audience construct provided information based on their prior knowledge. And then last is listening comprehension the communicative behavior that can involve both of the speaker and the listener. This is the theoretical framework. Uh, from the theoretical framework, first is whispering technique, and then listening skill, and then listening composition. We know that we have to do we have to have listening skills, and then we can do some activities, for the example like this whispering technique, and then we do some listening comprehension, and after that we can do the learning reinforcement activity, because when we do some listening skill at school, or maybe from teacher or a friend, we also need to improve or more practice these learning skills in the environment, because when we do that things, it can uh for students it can make understanding, and also they can to answering the question that will be distributed. Next is the hypothesis of the action. This listening conversation skills are needed in order to help students in developing their knowledge and familiarity towards new vocabularies. It means like whispering technique, which are significant, a way of helping students gain to develop toward listening comprehension, also plays a great role in maintaining student interest in their school studies. Uh, when we do this thing in whispering games, uh, it can make a student more concentrated, because it can make more adrenaline from students to playing game, or just answer the question. Just I think when they are doing some listening games, it can make they are more interesting about the listening skill. And from the research design is a planning to prepare the resources and the material, and then I do some interview, like deliver the question to the students, and also from the to the teacher, and last is analysis, and I do some research subject from the place and time. I do in a senior high school in SMAN 9 Pasar, and for the research subject is 28 students. That a criteria for research success is the English subject score is 75 from the minimum score in English subject, and then I have been doing some pre-test that only 8 students can pass that the minimum of uh, score in English subject. The way that I do to collect the 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 technique is I do some tests and also the interview. From the test, I do some pre-test by giving them a question about material by the listening skills. It means like they have to answer the question by listening the conversation, and then after that I do some interview from the for the student and also to the teacher. That's all my presentation about my research. I do apologize if there are many mistaken the way that I deliver the material, and I would like to close this presentation by Paramasanti. Om Santi Santi Santi.